Hey Jen, good to talk to you today. How are you?
Hi, great, Susan. I'm really good. It's a beautiful summer afternoon.
It is. So let's dig in here and start with what, tell us your name, what company are you with, and what is your role there?
My name is Jennifer Karen. I am the CEO of Sponsorship Boost. We are a trade show sales and management company.
Awesome. And so that's the product you sell to your clients. Do you have services surrounding that?
Yeah, we sell the concept of managing a trade show to our clients who are associations. The trade show part of that, the sales part of the trade show is selling exhibits and sponsorship and advertising for national conventions. I think our average is about 5,000 people.
Very cool. So how did you find us?
We were switching from another project management software to Teamwork. And a couple of people that we know in the industry use Teamwork, talk very highly of it. We decided to switch. We had done a bunch of work internally to figure out workflow. Our other previous project management system was really good, just not great and not ready to scale up. So a lot of our workflow issues we had figured out. But we were struggling to figure out the best way that Teamwork as a software program takes our workflow and puts it into their sort of their thinking, right? Their vocabulary, how their reports are, their dashboards. We went to Teamwork and we said, listen, we'd like to hire a consultant to help us onboard us into, switching from the previous project management system to Teamwork. Teamwork showed us a list of people that are preferred partners, I think is the word they term. I'm not exactly sure, but partners who, companies that they worked with who have that skill set. We talked to three of them, and we thought that Beyond the Chaos was the best fit for us. We thought that the the options provided to us, as well as the skill sets, were exactly what we needed.
So when you were talking about what you needed, why was it important to make that change so that you could get that outcome you were looking for?
We could have done this on our own, but it's really hard when you're putting a new system together to think of everything, right? So my team thought about workflow, but they didn't necessarily think of what the language that Teamwork uses, what the vocabulary that they use, how they think of reports, how we could structure our workflow in a certain way that made sense to us, but also worked within the system. We just didn't know that. Could we have figured it out? Sure, but it might have taken us a year to figure it out. And it was really important for us to get started with the right step, to get started prepared for having the entire staff trained on Teamwork. So it was worthwhile for us to hire a consultant. There was also a part that I had not considered that was been really helpful to us is the documentation. So post finishing the onboarding, right? So we switched from the previous project management software to the new one, which was Teamwork, getting our staff trained, and then the documentation required for that. I hadn't really anticipated that. And our consultant with Beyond the Chaos was fantastic. And not only, I guess there were three components. The first component was taking what we needed, looking at our workflow, and figuring out how that would work best in Teamwork. The second part was training the staff. And the third part was the documentation so that the staff had something to go back to look at. And I knew I wanted the first. I don't think I completely realized the scope for the second part, and definitely had not thought about the third. But I'm happy to say that the consultant from Beyond the Chaos was great. She thought of all three of them.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad. So it sounds like that's the order so that's what you got, those three things. Is that the order we worked with you on that in?
Yeah, definitely. When the scope, because obviously everything you do is customized to what your clients needed. At that point, we had probably 80 to 90% of the workflow finished. And so what we really need is to have somebody understand our workflow to figure out how it would work best in Teamwork, come back to with the options. Something we thought we could do we couldn't quite, and I don't really remember it at this point because now I'm so used to doing it the way we figured it out, but figuring out roles was a little complicated, and she spent the time to work with teamwork directly to figure out the right way to do it. So to put it in templates, to use milestones. So now I feel like, when you switch to new software, there's a million bells and whistles. Now, no one can use every single one of them, but you also don't want to pay all this money if you're only using 10% of them. And I think what she did in the first thing is make sure that we took advantage of the vast majority of what Teamwork had to offer, considering our workflow. So that first part, that's where we started, and that to me was the biggest benefit, why I needed a consultant. The other two were super important. I don't mean to say that staff training or documentation wasn't. It's just the first part, to make sure that we weren't paying for software that had that we weren't taking full advantage of.
Great. So what about today? Where are you today after all this is over and done with?
Our team is using Teamwork every day, all day. We have every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, we have a project health meeting, which is analyzing where each of our clients' projects are that we use Teamwork for. We have constant evaluation of the tasks of different people. We use it for training. If we have questions, we are at the documentation. Every new client has a template. We check out milestones. So we are actively using it in all the ways that I wanted to. We made an internal champion of Teamwork who's constantly looking at new things that we need to pay attention to for the future and new bells and whistles. But I am using it to the fullest potential that I thought we would use, which is exciting.
That's fantastic. So what are any takeaways you would give to someone else who might be considering going down this path and using our services?
I would say try to understand exactly what you need. It's hard to sometimes, do you need more of a project manager? Do you need more of a technology expert? Do you need a combination? Understanding the differences, which is hard because if you don't have a lot of experience, you kind of have to talk it through and brainstorming to figure out what you need. But spend more time in the beginning to brainstorm with you, probably Susan, exactly what you need and what success looks like. I think we did that, and I think that that's why we were so successful, because in the beginning we took the time to say, okay, this is what we need, this is what we don't need, because you want to make sure that the return on investment's there, right? That the money we're spending gives us what we need at the end of it, the success. So I told you early on, our workflow is 80% done. We need help with Teamwork. We need help with staff training. And that's exactly what we got. And the documentation was even better because I had not considered that. And then now we're really successful. So talking a lot in the beginning of what 6 months from now success looks like to you as a potential client, right? If someone's seeing this, what does success look like? And I could visualize in my head success look like my staff were using it. We weren't just putting tasks in, we were getting reports and dashboards out. And that's exactly what happened.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Jen. I really appreciate your time to do this with us.
Yeah, no problem.
We appreciated working with you. We loved it.
Yeah, it was a great fit for us too. So thank you.